Hey everybody, welcome back, Leon here. So today we're gonna react on a video made by Truly, as you can see in the title. My trans girlfriend doesn't make me gay. And yes, she doesn't. Link of the original video in the description, so keep watching because this is gonna be fun. And please smash the like button so that more people can see that. Let's go.
It's Victoria. She fell in love with Chris. The couple first met in high school, but back then, both their lives were very different.
I'd have kids spitting on me or throwing trash at me, yelling obscenities, telling me to go kill myself every single day.
So we'll get back to this part later.
I was part of the athletic community, and a bunch of the kids that I was surrounded by used to bully Victoria.
When I was transitioning, it felt like nobody would ever love me.
Having lost touch after graduating, years later, romance blossomed between the two after they unexpectedly matched on Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder. We'll also get back to this part later.
But even with high school fading into a distant memory, the couple have found that some judgment still remains the same.
Some of the worst stereotypes that we'll get, that I'm a man and he's gay.
No, that's not how this works. You're not a man and he's definitely not gay. Not gay.
I worry about the comments that she gets, just totally unnecessary slander for her.
I hate this picture.
I know you do, but I love it so much.
Goofballs. We're absolute goofballs. My name is Victoria Rose. I am a 22-year-old woman of trans experience, and I make LGBT content on YouTube.
Yeah, Victoria is actually one of the first trans women I started to follow on YouTube. Link in the description.
I'm Christopher St. Germain. I am 23 years old, and I am a music engineer and an artist.
We've been together for about a year and a half now, so going strong. We went to high school together. We weren't super close friends, but he knew of me. We grew up in a small farming town. I transitioned really young.
Yeah, they grew up in a small farming town, so you can imagine how much conservative people were there.
So as you can imagine, me transitioning from male to female at such a young age was very jarring for a lot of people to be seeing and to hear about. We came from such different walks of life because I was kind of like an art nerd and he was in all of the sports in high school. I knew him as a very handsome jock.
A bunch of the kids that I was surrounded by used to bully Victoria.
I'd have kids spitting on me or throwing trash at me, yelling obscenities, telling me to go kill myself every single day.
So that's a huge problem, if not the biggest when you're a trans kid, being bullied. But keep watching until the end because I'm gonna talk about that again. But you know, kids are kids, so they can be cruel, yes, because they're like clueless. So we need to be educated by, I don't know, like knowledgeable adults on the matter so they can be more understanding, loving, and accepting toward one another. But that's not really what you learn at school, is it?
I wasn't aware of the entirety of it, but there were moments where I did witness it. And I heard all sorts of garbage in the school, people saying stuff, and I was always like, hey, just shut up, like this isn't important, like why are you guys making fun of her?
Chris and Victoria graduated and went their separate ways.
And how great is this guy, isn't he? And he's an exception, although he should be the norm, right? But anyway, huge congrats to him because it's not easy to speak up. Unless maybe you're super confident, just like he is, and the popular kid in school, because otherwise obviously you're taking the risk to get bullied yourself and to be told things like, why are you defending him? Are you gay? Are you his boyfriend?
They eventually ended up back in their hometown, where a chance meeting on Tinder would change both their lives forever.
When I saw him on Tinder, I knew that I already had eyes for him.
But I saw her and went, oh my God, that's Victoria. I mean, she didn't look that much different than she did in high school. She's always been pretty.
By the way, how many of you watching have ever met someone on Tinder? Have ever met a current boyfriend or girlfriend on Tinder? Let me know in the comments. And Tinder isn't an easy place to navigate for trans women or trans men, but I'll make a whole video about it and I will link it in the description too.
But
These are the first messages that Chris sent me on Tinder, and I was so nervous because I had just gotten my bottom surgery. You know, I hadn't told anyone about it yet.
I said, you've become quite a beautiful woman, Victoria. I'm very proud of you for pushing through the terrible hate and living your truth.
That makes me quite emotional too, and it's such a right and uplifting thing to say, I think, on dating app, I mean.
I messaged him and I said, I'm good, but I'm actually recovering from surgery at the moment, so I'm not working. So he said, what did you have surgery on? And I said, I had gender confirmation surgery. So, and I had an emoji of a eggplant and then a taco, because I'm classy.
I knew about the eggplant obviously, but I had no idea about the taco. I guess you learn new things every day. And by the way, unless she likes you and something could happen, it's nobody's business if a trans woman still has an eggplant or has a taco actually. Just don't ask, no matter how curious you are. And also, nobody should be ashamed to like either eggplants or tacos. And that too is nobody's business.
I have had a breast augmentation, I have had a tracheal shape, they shaved down the Adam's apple, and I have had my sexual reassignment surgery, changing male genitalia to female genitalia. I feel like the surgeries that I have had got me to where I need to be mentally. I didn't want him to see me as that insecure, sad high school kid, because that's not who I am anymore.
School can be tough for anyone a little different, so imagine for a trans person. But exactly, once you start your adult life and people start to behave as actual adults with you, that's really when you can start living, truly blossom and become confident and really yourself. Far from every kid and teen's silly prejudices and teasing. I mean, you still get judged, but probably in a far less harmful way, most of the time at least.
I wanted him to just treat me like anyone else, which he certainly did, but he wasn't trying to forget that I was transgender. He was okay with it.
Well, I guess it's better not to try to forget and suppress and to rather like manage to accept it wholeheartedly, but without talking about it, unless when she's the one talking about it. So don't talk about it.
It did not take very long for us to realize that we were very well aligned.
There are a lot of things that I like about Chris. He's very understanding, he's very empathetic.
Well, if you're a guy that gets in a relationship with a trans woman, you're gonna have to be very understanding and empathic if you want it to work. Because she's not exactly going through what most other women are going through, and she has a different set of challenges in her life.
And he's smart as a whip.
Smart as a whip, just when they're like putting cream on the cupcakes. That's funny. Makes me hungry, by the way.
We just work so perfectly together. She's very patient with me when I have my issues in my life. I mean, our hobbies, and we just make a really good team.
We want a family one day. We want a normal, happy, wholesome life.
So for many guys, it can be an issue to have kids, obviously, and a family. But dude, you can adopt, and there are like more ways than that. So don't let that limit you if you love somebody. Be ready to be different and to do things differently. She deserves it.
But the couple have come up against a lot of prejudice about their relationship, due to Victoria being part of the trans community.
Some of the worst stereotypes that we'll get, really most basic one, is that I'm a man and he's gay.
Okay, if what you see when you look at her is a man, then you might need to check both your eyesight and your social skills. Because I see a woman, 100%. And thinking that men like myself attracted to trans women are gay is so incorrect and far from the truth that I'm definitely gonna keep speaking about it in the upcoming videos. Even if it's perfectly okay to be gay, but for the most part, for the vast majority of us, we just aren't. We aren't closeted either, we just like or have no problem with women which are a little different. And not every straight guy has to like trans women, okay? But I think a lot would like them if they actually realize that they're not so different from any other woman. For the most part, they don't really know trans women. They have never met one, they never spoke to any.
They always ask about surgical status, and they do not word it that pleasantly.
First question, to put it bluntly, is always just, what, does she have a penis?
What does it matter, right? I'm in love with her and you're an old friend of mine. Why does it matter what's going on with her sexually?
So again, it's nobody's business. You don't go around asking your friends about the size and shape of their like schlong or taco, right? It's kind of inappropriate, isn't it? So why is it okay to do it with a trans person? And no, even if she still has everything she was born with, you or your friend dating her is not gay. Actually, gay men are the only ones that have zero attraction toward trans women and that are only attracted to masculinity. Besides, some women can have a penis, and guys that like them don't see them as something masculine. They just don't, even if that's hard to believe. They're just women with different genitalia than most women for us. That's it. That's also what makes them like really unique, and some guys just like women which are just very different and unlike any others. Women which are like very special actually.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So my YouTube channel, I get a lot of support, but I also certainly get some people commenting, you know, man, ugly, fat. You know, my favorite one is fake vajayjays, grotesque. Have one saying, can I just point out the obvious here, not being rude, but just saying you will not be able to have a baby. Like, I do know.
Reminding anyone that can have kids that they can have kids is really not cool. If she knows you're really comfortable with her being trans and she jokes about it when things are getting more intimate and tells you, okay, let's do it now, get me pregnant, let's have kids together, then sure, play along. But apart from that, not great. It's funny because for me, trans women are women to an extent that if she actually jokes about that, about getting pregnant, sometimes I'm gonna need like a second or two to actually compute it and realize that That's not how it works actually, but okay.
Thank you. Jesus Christ is a man and he rose a man.
Which, like, what does that have to do with anything?
Never said anything what she says. I get this a lot. I get you're pretty hot for a dude. I get that a lot.
Yeah, the super original. You pretty hot for a dude. They call her sort of claiming to be attracted to her, but in the same sentence they still have to save their insecure butt and soften it by insulting her, negating her womanhood just so that their manhood doesn't get endangered. So immature and small.
I worry about the comments that she gets on YouTube, mostly because it's just totally unnecessary slander for her, and it obviously doesn't feel good to get a bunch of comments calling you a dude or man or whatever.
When I see the hate comments, it makes me frustrated that the trans community is being targeted like this. But honestly, people can go ahead and try to invalidate me, but nobody can validate me as a woman other than me. Today we are going for a walk at the park where we actually had our first date, and we're going to see Chris's mom and his sister. Growing up in a small farming town, you never really know what kind of judgment you might face when you go out.
Yeah, it would be great if every trans kid could grow up in a place where people are more open-minded. But obviously, unless your parents are just to another level, are willing and can afford to relocate, so you don't have to live miserably and barely survive as a trans kid, it's not really a choice.
Luckily, his family has always been very supportive of me. People are, I think for the most part, especially everybody in our life, is as open-minded as you. I mean, obviously, but unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that aren't, and people that have preconceived notions.
So I didn't really have any problem. And I mean, I think my only reservation, I would say, would be that other people in the family wouldn't be as accepting.
It's sad that we live in a world where someone would be worried that other people are going to have reservations towards you simply because you're being who you are. I think they are like the perfect match for one another.
They absolutely are.
They're like the goofiest.
Wow, that's really cool when Chris's sister says that they are a perfect match. And the mother agrees in such a nice way. Shows how much they embrace her as being the girlfriend and a full woman. Honestly, if I had a trans girlfriend I would introduce to my family, my sister might be very accepting and accommodating as she is with like everybody. But I'm not sure about my mother really. I don't think we'd be kicked out, but I could really expect some snarky remarks here and there. Would I care? Not really. Unless someone says stuff in front of her and makes her feel like really uncomfortable, then yes, I'm gonna care, and trust me, I'm gonna say something too.
This is the happiest I've ever seen her. Happiest, healthiest, just doing so well.
When I was a young person and I was transitioning, it felt like I was gonna be stuck there forever. And it felt like nobody would ever love me. I had people telling me all the time that no one will ever love you. Today, I can happily say I love who I turned out to be. I am a healthy, happy, well-adjusted 22-year-old with a happy, healthy, well-adjusted boyfriend.
Don't let the present make you feel desperate and look forward to the future, always. Nothing is permanent and everything changes. If you're suffering now, just think about this moment 1, 2, or 3 years from now when you'll be a happier person and more fulfilled and in a better place. Just be patient and trust the process. It's happening. You can do that.
You can date somebody who's transgender and not be thought of as a weird person. You know, it's important for me to openly be in a relationship with Victoria so that people can see that it's okay.
It's important for me to openly be in a relationship with Victoria so that people can see that it's okay. This sentence is so powerful, and that's the biggest takeaway from this video. And it's also my actual mission, doing what I'm doing and making this blog and these videos. Showing to you guys that it's okay to have a transgender girlfriend or to be attracted to trans women. It doesn't make you gay, and it certainly doesn't make you less of a man. And not to brag in the process, but I guess everybody noticed that this guy is simply a legend. And shows you that actually being proud and so confident to be with a woman of trans experience could make you more rather than less of a man, if really it made you any different. So again, this applies more to either like Western countries or Southeast Asia, and it would be obviously way more challenging in Muslim countries or Africa, where this kind of relationships can be a matter of life or death. But if you're a trans-oriented man, or in a relationship with a trans woman and aren't very confident yet about it, start to stop hiding and be proud of who you are. You don't have to tell everyone at the same time, but start opening up to some people. Especially to strangers who might never see you again, just to taste the water and see how it feels. So with whomever you tell and feel more comfortable sharing, say it confidently with a straight face. My girlfriend also happened to be of trans experience. Yes, she's a trans woman and it doesn't make a difference. I love her all the same, and why shouldn't I? She's a woman and she's my girl. Oh, by the way, I'm also attracted to trans women, and I think transgender women are cool as And most people will be fine with it if it's really your truth and you really own it. Just try.
Of my whole adult life. There was something I was missing the whole time, and I think having Victoria around, I feel like I have a home.
So I'm gonna end this video shortly with the bullying part again, because this is really important.
I'd have kids spitting on me or throwing trash at me, yelling obscenities, telling me to go kill myself every single day.
If you're not trans yourself and wonder why the rate of suicide among transgender people is at a staggering 40%, that might explain quite a bit. Look at this level of bullying. Can you even imagine this beautiful young woman now being spit on, thrown trash at, being insulted over and over? Can you imagine at all the cruelty of some children, maybe yours, maybe your neighbor children's, and how much it matters to any trans kid going through this kind of hell every day? How can you not start having terribly negative thoughts when you are insulted every day and told repeatedly to kill yourself? Nobody deserves that. Kids have to be educated about those things and about accepting one another, even when their gender expression is different and not something they are used to. It's so important for the mental health and happiness of so many people. Now I think that in some part of the world, like Southeast Asia and for example the Philippines or Thailand, gender fluidity is more common and part of the culture, so hopefully other kids will be more accepting. But let me know in the comments if that's actually the case. Or if as transgender women from the Philippines, for example, were also bullied and picked up like a lot every day when you were children, did it happen or not? So again, if you're watching this on Facebook or IGTV, please smash the follow and like buttons. And if you're on YouTube, then destroy the subscribe button and the bell icon, very important bell icon, so you can be notified when I release a new video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Au revoir et à bientôt.